beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go. Take a look in the 5 and 10,
glistening once again,
with candy canes and silver lanes aglow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, toys in every store. But the prettiest sight to see is the holly that will be on your own front door. A pair of hop-along boots and a pistol that chooses the wish of Barney and Ben.
Dolls that'll talk and we'll go for a walk is the hope for Janice and Jen.
And Mom and Dad can hardly wait for school to start again.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go.
Now there's a tree in the Grand Hotel,
one in the park as well,
the sturdy kind that doesn't mind the snow.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Soon the bells will start,
and the thing that will make them ring is the carol that you sing right within your heart. A pair of hop-along boots and a pistol that shoots
is the wish of Barney and Ben.
Dolls that'll talk and we'll go for a walk
is the hope for Janice and Jen.
And then Mom and Dad can hardly wait for school to start again. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Soon the bells will start, and the thing that will make them ring is the carol that you sing right within your heart.
I just love that song, don't y'all? I really do. Hello. Hey, Spark369. Hello. Thank you for coming. So I wanted to come and talk about what are my plans. Like, I have yet to be able to even talk openly about this, you know. Everybody wants to tell Jamila's story. Everybody wants to take the name Jamila, my face, and they want to try to speak for me. And nobody, just FYI, to all of my witchy babies out there, nobody, don't ever let nobody speak for you. You always speak for yourself. Okay? And it's just been a bunch of craziness. It has been. It's been a bunch of craziness on the internet. And I said, you know what? Today is hump day. Today is Wednesday. So I wanted to come and speak and talk about what my plans are, which, you know what? A lot of us have kind of, especially in the spiritual community, and it's weird because that's really literally only on the internet, okay? A lot of people have been afraid to speak about what their plans are because of the evil eye. And I think that the evil eye, I'm going to tell you guys something before I get into my actual plans. The evil eye is all, you're so sweet, Spark. Thank you. The evil eye mainly affects those that are kind of paranoid. Being cautious and being paranoid is, however, is two different things. Okay. And I do think that a great deal when it comes to witchery, but this is not all. Trust me, it is not. Because I truly believe in spirits and hauntings and ghosts and ghouls and things of that nature. Okay, I do, you know. But I think that a lot of the times when it comes to like the evil eye and things of that nature, it's mental. It's psychism. However, I will tell you guys before I get into what I want to talk about, and see, there's some people that have been guilty of some of the things that I say. And when a person feels guilty of doing something that they probably shouldn't have been doing, because maybe a person didn't deserve those things that you did, maybe you did a little too much, I'm not sure. However, dealing with a very negative person, I'm talking about somebody very negative, somebody that just has a lot of negative things to say. Whether or not we like it or not, even though you may be a strong person, you may be very strong willed, strong minded, your mind and your spirit absorbs those things that they're saying. And I can honestly admit that having someone positive 1 second for 2 seconds and then being extremely negative the next second, that can really do a number on the mind. And it can cause you to have like these unconscious and subconscious blockages, which are not good. Because when you have that stuff going on, it shapes your reality. So that's why you guys are going to hear me giving a lot of encouragement and a lot of information about, especially with this new moon coming up, about flushing the mind and flushing out a lot of that negativity, because that does shape your life. And then, especially if you are in a situation to where you are intimate with a very negative person, not good. Talking about somebody, especially if you're a woman and you're intimate with somebody that they have an intention on hurting you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got a double-edged sword. You have a negative person, and then at the same time, they are becoming one with your soul and your spirit, can have somewhat of a devastating effect on you. You've got to do some healing. You've got to do some clearing. Okay. And then I've even noticed that when you're doing that, people that are diabolical like that, they will continue. They will continue the negativity by trying to speak to you via the internet or trolling. So that's something that's very serious that should be taken seriously. And I don't agree with those things. Okay. I feel that if you've walked, first of all, I don't agree with just being evil and, stalking somebody, or just, you're hunting this person down. Even if you got into it with that person or had an argument or a disagreement, I feel that people, should let it go. I think that if a person insists on being in some kind of spiritual war with you, um, I think that that's not very spiritual of that person. And I think that when you've said, hey, because there's plenty of ways that you can just let things go. It's called ending cycles with a person, ending negative cycles. That is a thing. Negativity can always be transmuted into positive. But there are some people that just insist on trying to, there's just some people that are just evil and hateful in this world, and you don't have a choice but to be in a spiritual war with those people. Okay. You can't help it. And you just have to sometimes find a solution. You know what I mean? You have to find a solution to where you can balance that until the situation ends itself, because every situation has to come to an end. And some of these diabolical people, they're so jealous of you and obsessed over you that they don't that they just want you gone. And so that's why they keep going and they keep going, because for some reason they have told themselves lies. You know what I mean? Like they've lied to themselves, you know? So, if you've been the bigger person and you've said, "Hey, this is stupid. First of all, this doesn't serve me anyway," because sometimes negativity serves other people. So I've been doing quite a bit of spiritual research, playing around with herbs and various potions and solutions uh to help people, you know. So I'm gonna get into my practical plans, but I do want to say that helping people spiritually is a passion. It's not just something that I decided to do. It's actually a passion of mine. Okay. Being God or grandstanding or competing with people or having the most numbers, or that's not nearly important to me as my passion to help people spiritually and to heal people. And that is the truth. And I've never lost sight of that. It's always been about the spiritual work. If the work is there, it needs to be done and it needs to be done properly. Um, I've actually spent the last 2 years in training when it comes to, um, shamanic healing. And the brand of shamanic healing that I have been taught doesn't require the demise of another person necessarily. It doesn't. And that is completely opposite of the Bible. It is because, I watched a couple of videos about the Bible when I was taking my hair down last night. And, I think of what I do is much more peaceful. It's much more karmically good than that. And to me, it's faster. It is. It's faster. It's better that you don't have to hurt somebody else. So just remember that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't do the type of healing that requires someone else to be drained of their energy. But however, I do believe that if a person uh, is problematic, diabolical, they just won't leave people alone. They lie a lot. They try to ruin a person's life. I do believe that on some level, people like that present themselves as sacrifices because they make it tit for tat, don't they? They make it to where it's either going to be you or me. Have y'all noticed that? And you just can't help it. You just can't help that. And as we all know, like I was saying earlier, is that paranoia slash your intuition, they're kind of the same thing. But if you're being paranoid, and I've seen a lot of paranoid people trying to start spiritual wars, and being that spiritual information is so readily available via books and things of that nature, a person can start some crap with you and, they can actually possibly do something. You know what I mean? Like, people have a misconception that you have to be a bloodline witch and you need this and you need that. You need a coven to harm somebody, and you don't. Okay. And I've seen and I've known people that they don't have to say anything to a person. They're that good. They become that good at throwing negativity at people. So, it's something that I do have a passion about. There's some things that I have been creating because we would like to abolish that period because that's just ridiculous. Um, there are some people that do carry on the characteristics of a false god that wants to create your destiny, and they want your destiny to be as tragic and traumatic as possible. But as the good gods teach us, you can truly control your own destiny. Okay? Because that whole ideology comes from a very negative place as far as with how the false gods created the physical reality. Now, I don't agree with that. That's the one thing that I don't agree with. I don't agree that earth was made to imprison people. I really honestly don't. um that's one of the themes that I've seen over and over again in a lot of these videos. I think that your time on earth can be one that can be a great time. You can have a great time on earth. And I don't agree with that. But I do think that there are some people that carry on those negative ideologies. And I think that that's what we're fighting against, right? Okay. So, you know, and we've witnessed it. We have witnessed it. And so I'm going to segue into what I wanted to talk about actually. We've witnessed people trying to, tell you that, oh, I don't want you to have a house. I want you to be homeless the rest of your life. I want you to die out in the streets. There are people that are trying to attempt to do spiritual work, which I've warned people. I've warned those people not to do that, but they're going to do it anyway because there's some people that just do silly, crazy stuff. Obviously, if a person is up to that, what are they doing? They are either conjuring real vagabond spirits, real spirits of struggle, strife, um, desolation, scarcity, and those people are a problem. You're jealous of somebody, so you just don't want to see them with nothing, but yet and so you're conjuring these bad spirits just because you can't walk away from a person, just because you're so jealous that you don't want to see a person with anything. I think that's horrible and irresponsible. Okay. And a person doesn't have that power, but what I think that people do is they will do whatever they feel that it takes. So, for example, um, so you guys know that we did get back to Kansas City, Missouri on August the 19th. Um, and currently I am working on getting my own place. And I've been back for less than a month. And so if things would have went according to my plan, but I think that things went perfectly, to be honest with you. I would have had a place when I got down here, but that's not what happened. I was going through a lot in Georgia. First of all, it is very easy. The homeless population is very high in the Atlanta, Georgia area. It is hard down there. And mainly it is because not only are women marginalized, but especially Black women are marginalized. And now it seems like women and Black women are being marginalized everywhere, pretty much, which sucks. There's a lot of people being marginalized. There's transgenders being marginalized. There's gay people being marginalized. They're finding a reason to marginalize any and everybody, the diabolical people. And I think that the good people of this world need to really band together and stand up and say, hey, we're not going to take this. Okay. We're not going to stand for this. Okay. We may not be the type of people that's going to, pack a gun and, and scream and shout, but we are people that we do have the will to survive. We have the will to live, and we're not going to let them take our life, because that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with people that are evil and diabolical, and we're dealing with people that just simply want to survive and flourish. And the people that are diabolical and evil want to take away from us. So, it's kind of been the same story, but I think in the past few years, it's gotten worse. With things happening and everything in our economy crashing, and just a lot of diabolicalness. So yeah, I'm working on getting a house. It'll be a lot easier to get a house, actually, because I can go through the private sector to do that. Okay. In fact, back home, I know plenty of people that own houses that I can rent for a little while, and just kind of settle there, until I make plans of getting my 6 bedroom, 6 bath, 6 fireplace house built from the ground, because that is going to happen. And nobody can take that away from me. Okay? Nobody. Don't ever let nobody take away your vision that you have, because you know what, you have that vision for a reason. And your spirits, your ancestors, on many, many levels, they support that vision. So don't ever it's not a dream. It's called a vision that you have, and you should never let that go. And that's something that I'll never let go. Okay. Um, a part of that, though, is going to be I'm still running the business. However, I'm going to get a job. Okay. I'll be working full time from home. I'm going to get a work from home job. It's actually what I was doing prior to starting my business. I was working from home for probably at least several years straight. Every job that I had was a remote job. Okay, it just made it easier because back then I had little ones, and it just made it easier, you know. Uh, by the way, working from home is a perfect option for those of you with little ones, especially if you're a mom and you're a single mom. By the way, shout out to the single moms. Um, you have support. We love you. You have been attacked. Your children have been attacked. And you have a great support system and love, and a place of love over here at the end of the day, because I don't like the way they attack you and the way they attack your babies. Now, shout out to the married moms, or the moms that are copulating with their men. Shout out to you, because there's a lot of people that are in relationships with good men. Okay. Nothing wrong with that. Doesn't mean that you're not under spiritual attack. Um, anybody can be under spiritual attack. Anybody. Everybody is. Okay. Well, not everybody, but some people just handle it different, and some people are at various levels depending on what has happened, depending on the history of what's happened. Okay. However, I think that single mothers can be vulnerable, and I think it sucks that when people attack single mothers, and they attack single mothers because they are vulnerable, and you have to put yourself in a position to where you're not vulnerable. Okay. And that's exactly what the mission is over here, especially with single moms. I think it sucks. I think it's disgusting. I don't agree with that. I do not agree with that. And I think that it is the worst exploitation that I have ever seen in my life. I think it's absolutely disgusting to attack somebody just because you think that they are vulnerable. But to my single moms out there, y'all are not vulnerable. You have your warriors. Oh, hey, I can honestly say that I am a warrior. And I got y'all back. Okay. Now, granted, I can't just take on all y'all spiritual problems for free, but I still got you. I don't judge single moms. I don't hate being a single mom. That's just like when I became a grandmother. I am a grandmother as well. I have two grandchildren. There's nothing wrong with becoming a grandmother. There's nothing wrong with family. There's not that's what life is about. Okay. Which was why I was so passionate about getting back home because, I have a lovely granddaughter and I have just a beautiful, healthy grandson, you know. And then I also have family here that I love and respect. So I'm glad to be back. Okay. Um, but I'm still running the business because I feel passionate about that. And there are people that do go under spiritual attack by people of all walks of life. And I want people to know the truth. You are not just under spiritual attack by witches, you are under spiritual attack by religious people too. So it's not true that it's just because a lot of witches, I'm going to tell you something. What is the idea of a witch? What does a witch really want? I feel like I can't speak for every witch, but many of us just like our witchy aesthetic. We just like communing with the old gods, the original gods, whatever that is. La, Odin, you know. We just love that, and we're not trying to hurt people and we don't. So I feel passionate about letting people know that, you know. It's not that it's not that, you know, other people's religion has just all this power against somebody. It's not about power. What it's about that person that's reading into that and what their intention is and what their energy is towards you. Okay, until you get to the next level where people are able to conjure spirits to send them after you. But otherwise, it's all about what a person is transmitting to you energetically. And you do have to have your guard up. There's all sorts of ways to protect yourself and your family and the people that you love. Okay. It's sad to see that when I see people waking up bad spirits to attack somebody's family. Not cool at all. And I think that I was awakened by the goddess right at the right time where these things were going to happen anyway. Okay. Luckily, we've had some sort of preparation for it. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So, yeah, but anyway, that's the plan. The plan is to get a full time job, but also to run the business, to run Divine Services Apothecary. And I am looking for a job right now. I do know that there are dark forces against me that for some reason they jealous of your girl Jamila. I don't know what it is. I'm not a superficial person. I've never been the type of person that goes around downing people. I've always been a very loving person that sees the good in everybody. So that's a bit misplaced, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I think a part of the game so that people can escape their karma and not have to face themselves is to make it look like they're justified in attacking somebody, because good people get attacked all the time. You know what I mean? And they will even make up things about you, lie on you, smear you, so that they can get others to do it. But eventually, those people's day will come to where they have to face the truth, right? They do. You were not justified in attacking that person. And then, plus, while they're attacking good people, guess what? The people that they really should be facing is actually and factually tearing them down in some kind of way, because they're so focused on attacking someone else. So at the end of the day, they lose anyway. While they're being attacked by something, by other people, by somebody else, they're so focused and obsessed on attacking you, which makes no sense. And many of us that practice, we created a space of peace, which is why I'm encouraging you guys. So today, I am going to look for my very first Maybon celebration on YouTube. I'm sure that it's still up. I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't have deleted that one. Any of my Sabbath celebrations. But then also just to show you guys how things were prior to me moving into the house that I ended up, essentially being evicted from in Georgia, okay, because of problems with the landlord. It was such a peaceful space, and it was such a good place that we were in. I always keep my kids in a good place, aside from what me and my sons had to go through for a little over a year. But other than that, I always make sure that the kids, because that's the one thing that I'd like to prevent, and it's because growing up, I'm sure that my parents were going through things, but they protected me from those things. And I think we owe it to our kids to give them just happiness growing up. You don't want to raise a child in misery. I don't agree with that. I feel like kids should be allowed to be kids. So that's just the type of mom I am. Okay. So, and that's consistently the way I've been. Okay. It's kind of like I'm on the front line when it comes to problems and when it comes to attacks. I'd rather my kids be, either watching a movie or playing a board game, eating popcorn, than to be sitting up here fighting with anybody. I don't agree with that. Some people may think differently, but that's my humble opinion. That's how I feel, and it's probably because that's what I was allowed to do as a child. I wasn't going through all of that. I didn't have people that hated, if somebody hated me as a child, I didn't know it because I was protected from that hate. Okay. So, looking for a job. I know I'll get one soon. And I'm just still running the business, working on getting my own space, which I know for a fact I will have very soon. Um, and so I'm just really looking forward to rebranding and regrowing this channel. This channel saw a lot of fast growth. It went through a bunch of false flagging, in particular during the pandemic, when I didn't even. Okay, here's the thing that didn't make any sense. When YouTube was allowing flags to go through on my channel, I was not speaking about, all of the conspiracy theories about, um, the pandemic. I wasn't even speaking like that. And for some reason, my channel got dinged. Weird. Very, very weird and strange. So, but it did. And so in the meantime, I'm still going to be doing the things that I'm doing. More than likely, I'm going to be taking a few client cases. Um, to be honest with you, I think I'm going to not want, I don't think I really want love cases. Nah, I don't like that. Okay. I mean, of course, those of you that are being spiritually attacked, that came from the misfortune of dealing with kind of like an unfaithful, diabolical man. I mean, men can be unfaithful, but let's face it, if he's unfaithful and he's diabolical, you got a whole monster you dealing with. Because more than likely, he's going to be connected with other women that don't necessarily think the way that you do. So then you find yourself in a war over a man that ain't even worth it. So I'm not dealing with that. But as far as other case types, and then I'm also thinking about just going ahead and just doing my Sabbats. Okay. Just having Sabbath circles and while working a job. Okay. Um, I am going to be announcing today. I haven't even gotten the opportunity. I was up until like 8 o'clock this morning, y'all, taking down my braids. And so right now, all my hair is just like kind of all over my head. I didn't want to shampoo it and manipulate it too much because it's just kind of breathing right now. I'm going to be honest with y'all, it'll probably be a while before I put more braids in it because I just feel like my hair is like, just let me be free. So I'm just going to let it be free. I'm going to shampoo it, deep condition. And so I was up real late, but I'm going to make the final decision as to if I'm going to have a Maybon circle. And I'm looking forward to doing that. Okay. So I'll make the announcement sometime this evening as to whether or not I'm going to be doing that. But what's definitely in the plans is getting a job. And obviously, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be announcing where I work publicly because there are people that will attack your job. I still don't understand that. I think we need to band together to cancel people that are doing that. Sometimes I think it's a part of a bigger conspiracy. Don't y'all? Like, what, who does that? Maybe so, who knows? I know it's kind of ridiculous. And I know it sucks, because there's companies that have been around forever. I think probably the most stable industries is going to be, to me, it's going to be spiritual work. Getting quality spiritual work is still essential. You got to find some kind of way. It's not just about, oh, you have to believe in God. You have to believe in God. It's not just about that. It's about protecting and defending yourself and your family against these energetic attacks because they do want to tear down your family. For some reason, there's people that will kind of just be scrolling. They'll be scrolling through social media, which is why a lot of people left social media. And you may post just a barbecue with your family, or you may post just maybe a graduation party or just anything, and those people say, "Ooh, those people look happy. I want to attack them." It's out there. So, for some reason, there's an obsession with that. I don't get it. And right now, we're having some turbulence here. I ain't going to say much, but yeah, I had an epiphany probably about 10 minutes before I came on here that our president is unstable. He's unstable, period. And if some He's unstable because there was an announcement made, I think today, that he was thinking about just letting TikTok drop. And I'm like, why? He's been extending the deadline, and now all of a sudden, so it yeah. So I think that right now is at this time that we're dealing with, because just like religion, politics are being forced on us. Like I said, I will say this, it used to be a time where, politicians, they just, they handled the budget and the debt, and now it just seems like they're putting on a show. And it's weird. Don't it seem like that? It's unbelievable. I feel really bad for Generation Z. This is not good. Goodness. So it's easy to say forget those people, but believe it or not, those people are actually a byproduct of what is happening politically, globally. And yeah, we are going to forget those people, because guess what we want to do? We want to celebrate Maybon and be in a peaceful place without thinking about those people. Those people want us to think about them. Think about it. A person that has an intention to hurt you, they don't want you to just move on and never think of them. They want you to think about what they put you through. They wanted to ruin your mind, ruin your heart. You know what I'm saying? We want to just genuinely celebrate Halloween, just which is why on Halloween, like when we get closer to Halloween, I want to give that gift to my subscribers, to where I just go live and we carve a couple of pumpkins. That is so fun. And it's cleansing. It's cleansing. That's it's been a tradition in my family. Around this time of the year, we start breaking out the pumpkins, making more soups, baking pies. I know that my grandmother, uh, on my mother's side and my father's side, the memories that I have about them is that my great grandmother, because I lost my grandmother at a very young age on my father's side, my father's mother, but my great grandmother, Big Mama, she would make it. She would, as soon as it would start getting kind of chilly outside, she would start making this delicious potato soup, stewed potatoes. If you've never had stewed potatoes, they are delicious. My grandmother on my mother's side, she would start making more stews and chilies, and my aunt, who has passed away years ago, she would make a homemade from scratch chicken noodle soup. For health, and just for you know and that's what we want to do. We don't want to be dealing with things that are outside of our tradition. What's the tradition in your family? Fighting and arguing and going after people? Of course, everybody has had little arguments and, little emotional problems within the family, but just going, having a war with somebody, that's not been. And I know that different families are going through different things. In particular, when it comes to people's bloodline curses, and they may be fighting over inheritances and things like that. But that doesn't just keep going. You know, I know that what I'm used to is everybody in my family just kind of having their own careers. So I'm just not used to all of that craziness, whatever it is that other people are going through. So yeah, we would love to do that, and just to, enjoy our harvest and just live normal life. Never has it ever been a part of normal life for me. That's exactly what I've witnessed the past 40 years of my life, has been seeing my parents get up and go to work in the morning, come home, cook dinner. What this extra stuff, never seen it, never witnessed it, don't know what that is. Okay. And being in social media does not mean that. I think that social media can sometimes be a crutch for people that need to properly deal with their issues. Instead, what they're doing is they're raging against people, complete strangers on the internet. I don't agree with that. So I think that the internet can become a crutch for people. And I think that there's been a lot of victims of that. I'm a firm believer in, if you have problems, or if you have problems within your bloodline, go deal with that stuff. There are a lot of different herbs and resins, and you can even make oils out of those resins and herbs that will transmute that negative energy. If you got a bad spirit running rampant in your family, banish it, block it out, seal it out. I don't believe in just going with it. You know what I mean? So, and so anyway, I will be working full time soon. I'm going to put it into the universe, and but then also running the business. So I'll be working two full-time jobs, because you can't really run a spiritual business part-time. But it'll be okay, because I'll be able to schedule things to where, I'll be able to schedule my readings in the evening, while trying to balance family life, to where I can spend time, spend the time with my children, because, children, they're doing their own thing. Like Jacob, if he's not doing his school studies, Jacob actually creates video games. If you guys didn't know that, my 12-year-old, he literally develops video games. So you can just about imagine the level of intelligence that is of my 12-year-old. Okay. So he's usually doing his own thing, but typically when I spend time with my kids, it's because I'll create that time. I'm like, hey, let's go do this, or hey, let's sit down and watch a movie, or, I cook dinner for them. That's how you create that quality time with your family. But in between that time, I'll be doing readings for clients for divine services, and then just going to sleep, getting as much sleep as possible, and waking up and working a full-time job. So I can definitely make it work. And it'll be fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's how I did it, going back to when I first started my business. I feel like it's almost like a reboot, only I have more knowledge and more wisdom. Okay. And I can do it better, right? I feel like I've gotten better. But when I first started Divine Services, I was actually working a work from home job. And that history goes back to Georgia, which, I'm not going to say anything negative, but I wish I hadn't have done that. Wish I hadn't moved to Georgia. But, When I first got to Georgia, the very first job that I worked was at the South DeKalb County Mall. I actually had a job at the mall that I got paid daily, and I just swept up and down the mall and cleaned up the food court, and that was how I was able to pay my light bill, that was able to power my company, that was able to lead me to a work from home job that I worked. Um, and then that's when I started the business. Okay, I was working part time from home. I'm not going to do part time because this time I don't really have the financial support that I had back then. But I was working part time and I was running the business. This time I'll only be working full time and running my business. So, that's pretty much the plan in case people were wondering. Nobody's just sitting around like literally. I know that there's some people that do that with me because apparently they don't have anything else to think about. When I'm at work, I'm focused on work. I don't have time to focus on anything else. And more than likely I'll be working either a customer service job from home or either a chat job to where I'm doing chat support, which is really something that I want to do is chat support because that way I don't have to talk to anybody. I can just chat. And so that's pretty much what I'm looking for right now. I don't, but we all know that there's some people in this world that are even some of you guys is problems. They're focused on you all day, every day. And many of us that are very intuitive, we can pick up on that. So I'm thinking that that might be, just an idea for you guys is to step outside of that consciousness of those people that are just obsessing about you all day, every single day. Just thinking about you. Who has time to sit and think about a person all day, every day? I have no idea. Like I said, I've never seen anything like that before in my life, but there are some people out there that legitimately do have mental illnesses, OCD, things of that nature. Okay. And I believe that if you are an intuitive, especially if you are an empath, you have to be able to protect yourself from that. So, to the point where you're living your life, and unfortunately, that person is not your fault. When somebody is obsessed with you to the point where they can't focus on nothing else, or they may be able to focus for just a second on something else, but then it comes back to you, that's not your fault, is it? It's not it's not your fault. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I've never seen anything like it before in my life or dealt with it before in my life, but it just is what it is, I guess. Okay. So yeah, but that's pretty much it. In the meantime, you guys are more than you guys are going to see this channel grow. uh and then also join me on Rumble. Okay, I'm going to post the link again on Rumble, or bump the link that I already shared to my community wall. But I'm also encouraging you guys to become a member if you like, because I do have memberships on here, and I am going to get up some membership um content because I have two members right now, which thank you to my two members. So, but anyway, so that's pretty much the plan. I hope that you guys wish me well. I'm sure good things are happening. Good things always happen for me. And so it just it is what it is, and a lot of good things has happened. I got my wish, and which was to come back home. And, I know for a fact that all of my other wishes are going to come true. Um, and so, yeah, life does not stop just because you're in your 40s. I've never, I don't understand why people act like, if you're 40 or 50 and you may go through certain changes, that means that, oh, your life is over. Oh my God, you just failed. Well, first of all, I know for a fact that before my mother passed on, my mother, I think she was like, what, 55? My mother bought her fourth house, and it was a very big, beautiful home. So people that are our age, they're still living life. It's not like, oh, it's over. I'm going to die any day now. I don't, with a normal person, that's just not the case. Okay. In fact, especially if you have little ones, for me, what's important is for me to at least leave my children some equity before I leave, which I already told y'all, I think I'm gonna live to be 155. Okay. I'll probably drop out of social media. I'll drop off the face of social media, but I'll still be here kicking. They'll be like, oh, look at Jamila. She's the oldest person in the world. Yeah, she's 155. No, I'm joking. But yeah, I still feel very young. I'm gonna tell y'all something. I feel, even though the past 10 years has been insane, I still feel that I am 37, 35. I still feel like that 35-year-old, and I even still look like it. I know a lot of people don't like that because they're like, I want to take your life. And it's like, well, guess what? God won't let you. Okay. People want to take your life. They do. It's not going to happen. It's not up to you to let those people do that. And I think that what most people have a hard time with is unfathoming in their mind the next level evil of some people. You know what I'm saying? Like, just those people that are just like, it seems like they're just trying to tear you down bit by bit. Well, guess what? I walk a mile a day. Literally. I walk a mile a day. Still very active, very vital. Okay. And did y'all see that if you guys follow me on Facebook, I think I do share like Facebook stuff, some of my Facebook stuff globally. It's like not on private, but they say that scientists discovered a second heart in your calves or something, in the either the left or the right calf or something. And I kind of believe that, you know what I'm saying? So because you do feel better, you do better when you get out and you get some kind of walk, every single day, staying kind of active. You know what I'm saying? Sedentary is not good. So, you know, um, so get that in, even if it's a brisk walk up the block and you come back, or you do that 2 or 3 times per day. You know what I'm saying? It's just good for you. Get some air, get some oxygen, breathe. You know what I mean? So, anyway, yeah, a lot of the stuff that I was doing previously, like doing vlogs where I would walk, and I would do vlogs, and then just getting out in nature. I want to get back to doing stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And I will. So anyway, that's pretty much it. I will see you guys very soon. Like I said, let me get off of here because I still have not even I have not communed with my spirit guides, which I'm about to do that. I don't know about you guys, but I use my tarot cards every single day, sometimes several times per day. I personally love the tarot. There are some people that, while yeah, a lot of our intuition is going to tell us a lot. However, you get so much from the tarot. You do. And so there's some people that are like, oh, that's just the devil. Well, whatever. I still don't understand that. I really don't. So, whatever. You know what I mean? But okay, guys, I'll see y'all soon. All right. Blessings to y'all. Bye bye.